Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parsh Mishpatim. In Parsh Mishpatim, we deal with many parts of civil law. One of the things that we deal with is Nevid Ivri. We're told that a person who steals money and he can't afford to pay it back gets sold as a Nevid Ivri, gets sold as a Jewish slave. While he's there, he gets given he gets given a shivcha. He gets a wife. He begets children, stays there for 6 years. If at the end of 6 years we send him home, and if he says, you know what, I really love being here. I love my wife, I love my master, I love my life here, then we take him and we bring him to the doorway and we take an awl. Not an antiseptic thing. We don't take something that you would find in a mall when you get an ear piercing. We take an awl and we pierce through his ear, and the guy walks around with a hole forever in his ear as a reminder that the ear that heard that there's only one God and we have only one master was trying to take upon himself two masters. And therefore he has to walk around with this reminder for the rest of his life. It's a little difficult to understand why we're waiting until 6 years after the guy says that he wants to stay and he doesn't want to go home. Why are we waiting to put an awl in his ear? Remember, this guy stole. He stole money. He's a criminal. He did something wrong. He's not the best of people. Why don't we put a hole in his ear right from the very beginning? The ear that heard "Don't steal" on Mount Sinai, that ear allowed that body went and stole money. Why not punish him then? Why not put that hole in his ear so the guy walks around with an everlasting reminder that you don't really care about stealing, you don't really care about other people. Look what you did. Why are we waiting? It's a crime. Wanting to stay in slavery and not wanting to leave. Okay, it's there's something wrong, but stealing? That's up there. It's in the Ten Commandments. So I think that what happened to this fellow is that after 6 years of living with his crime, it now becomes clear that he has no understanding of what's right and wrong, no understanding of what he did. Because you have to imagine that for 6 years this guy was a slave. Everybody was saying, who is that guy? Oh yeah, that's the guy that stole and he couldn't pay back. That's the guy that borrowed and he couldn't pay back. That guy ended up as a slave. You would think that when his sentence was over, so to speak, and now he's able to go home, he would run out of there because he would want nothing more than to be gone with this. That people should stop talking about him, that he should be reinstated back in society, go back to his family, go back to his home, go back to his life. Go get Mafti Yoina again. Yeah, go live like a regular human being. Instead, the guy says, no, I've gotten used to this. That means that he doesn't really understand what he did. He doesn't really understand what's going on, and he's accepted his status quo as being his normality, as being his reality. And I think the way the Torah teaches us this, because it has nothing to do with you and I, this slavery, this putting it all in the ear, it doesn't apply now, has nothing to do with us, but it has everything to do with us. Because we put this hole in the person's ear as a poignant reminder of don't accept status quo. Don't slip into a place that you accept the way things are going on and what's happening around you. And you say, you know what, this is now the new norm. See, when he stole money, it could very well be that he had a momentary lapse. I don't know. I don't know if the guy is so insensitive. I don't know if the guy is so out of touch with what's going on around him. But I do know that after 6 years, when the guy says he wants to stay there and he's not embarrassed to walk around that way, then you know that this guy has lost sight of reality and truth, and that this guy's now living in a la-la land of accepting the worst as status quo as being acceptable. And that's something that every human being is capable of doing. Every human being is susceptible to falling into the place that we accept status quo. Look at the world that we're living in. The world that we're living in that accepts what Hamas has done, the evil that it stands for. And yet there are people that still support it after the display of yesterday, of what they did to those to those children, what they did to that family, what they did to the Jewish people, what they did to human beings. And there is a supporter in the world that's left for them. There are people that will stand behind them. It's because you can sink to a place of accepting the craziness around you as normalcy. You can sink to a place of accepting status quo. And it's something that every person is susceptible to. And it has to be for us a wake-up call, a realization that we've got to walk around with that proverbial hole in our ears, that we have to remember what we heard on Sinai, and we have to remember what our values are, and we have to remember who we are, and never lose sight of that. We can't accept status quo. Well, that doesn't mean that we have to make political movements and we have to go against political movements. That doesn't mean that we have to trash the prime minister because we don't feel that he's doing what he's doing. No, that's not the way to show that we're not accepting status quo. But our hearts have to break. We have to kvetch. We have to feel it. We have to recognize the evil and never allow us just to accept the craziness that's going on around us. We can't just move on and just say, next. We have to be resilient, but resilient with the realization that we live in a crazy world that's upside down. And to commit ourselves, not allow ourselves to slip into status quo, not allow ourselves to slip into a place that we accept madness as the way of life. Oh, I don't think anybody that's watching this video would ever accept murder and would ever accept rishus and barbarianism as status quo. We don't have to worry about that. But we have to worry about in the context of our lives that midah, that characteristic is something that we are susceptible to, something that we could fall into. And that in our own lives, on our own levels, we can accept madness as normalcy. We can forget the context. We can forget the reality and just say, this is the way it is, status quo. We can't allow ourselves to slip into that place. And we have to use this moment to make us realize where we are, who we are, what we're meant to stand for, and to be mechazik that and to strengthen that. To strengthen that through davening, to strengthen that through learning, to strengthen that through chesed, strengthen that through the realization that the Rebbeinu Shalom wants something from us. And that I can't accept this madness that I allow my own personal life to slip into. I can't allow that to become my norm. I have to feel that hole in my ear that reminds me to listen to the messages that I heard at Sinai and never to forget them. May the memories of all those that have been murdered now and through our history, may the memories of all those who have given up their lives to ensure that we don't slip into madness and that the world stays a place of sanity. May I be part of making sure that their loss is not for naught. And that Hashem should give me the strength to be able to keep my eyes and my ears open and to continuously hear those sounds from Sinai that remind me who I am, what I am, and what I'm doing here. Yeh Zichron Baruch. Their memory should be a blessing. And we should know only from peace and shalom, and to see Bias HaMashiach, B'mheira v'yameinu, Amen.